This is the Insta360 Ace Pro and this is the GoPro Hero 12. Now this is going to be a very detailed comparison between these two action cameras, which are basically the top action cameras that you can get right now. Ace Pro is the first full action camera from Insta360, which usually develop 360 cameras, which I've used and reviewed a lot on this channel. But I've also been using GoPros since they came out. Pretty much, I think I had the GoPro 3, I think was the first one I had. So the GoPro Hero 12 really didn't bring much new to the table compared to the Hero 11. It's kind of been a stagnant action camera market for a while now. But the Ace Pro actually does have some innovative features which I wasn't expecting. So in this comparison, we're going to be taking a look at a lot of direct video comparisons. There are some differences in the specs between these two. Ultimately going to see which one produces the best video, but which one is also easiest to use. This is the Insta360 Ace Pro versus the GoPro Hero 12 and 11, really, because the 11 and the 12 are pretty much the same. So let's take a look at the specs of these two cameras before we go into any comparisons. Starting off with the Ace Pro, the maximum resolution of the Insta360 Ace Pro is 8K at 24 frames per second, but then unusually it goes down directly to 4K, skipping 5K. And at 4K resolution, you have an option of 120 frames per second, so that's super slow motion, all the way down to 100, 60, 50, 30, 25, and 24 frames per second too. When shooting at a frame rate of 4K of 30 frames per second or lower, the Insta360 Ace Pro shoots HDR video. It can shoot 42 megapixel images or HDR photos at 18 megapixels. Now, Insta360 describes this camera as an AI camera, and we'll see what that means a bit later, but let's go on to look at the Hero 12. The maximum resolution of the Hero 12 is 5.3K at 30 frames per second. You also have 4K at 120 frames per second and 2.7K at 240. The Hero 12 has HDR video, but the Hero 11 does not. But in both cases, these cameras have several unique video modes. The Hero cameras can shoot 27 megapixel photos. Some of the unique features of the Hero 12 include 10-bit color, voice control, hindsight, a webcam mode, and built-in GPS. However, that is only applicable to the Hero 11. The Hero 12 actually removed the GPS, but it does have a longer battery life than the Hero 11. So that's pretty much the only differences between those two cameras. Taking a look at the design differences between the Hero 11 and 12 and the Ace Pro, there are a few differences. For example, the thickness of the cameras. The Ace Pro is quite a bit thicker than either the Hero 12 or Hero 11. Now, this may be because it features a flip screen, which the Hero 12 and 11 does not. So you can press these two buttons here and the screen flips up. Now, that does take into account some of the thickness of the camera. We can see here a bit of a comparison with the screen flipped up. The thickness isn't that different, but with the screen flipped down, it does add to that thickness. The Hero cameras feature two screens, the large LCD screen at the rear and a smaller one at the front, which is not touchscreen, but which can display anything that the rear screen displays. As I mentioned, the Ace Pro has a single screen at the rear, which can flip up, but it also does have an LCD screen at the front, which just displays kind of which mode you're on and some other basic information. The Hero 12 features a built-in mount, which is kind of the standard GoPro mount, which attaches to all of its accessories, hundreds of them now, and that is built into the camera. The Ace Pro features a magnetic mount. It magnetically attaches, and the mount is the same as the GoPro mount. However, it does magnetically attach, which I find a bit unusual. I don't know why they didn't just have it attached to the camera in the first place. In either case, there is no standard mount, which you would find for most selfie sticks or tripods. You need to get an adapter for those kinds of accessories. Both cameras are also waterproof to 10 meters without a case. Now, it depends how much you secure the camera in all of the doors and all of the openings. You need to make sure they are closed and secure. Okay, so let's get into the video comparisons, which is really what I'm sure you are here to see. As I'm comparing to both the Hero 11 and Hero 12 versus the Ace Pro, I did shoot some videos with both the GoPro Hero 11 and 12, and that will be displayed on the comparisons. It'll be very clear which one you're looking at. The Ace Pro, like I said, can shoot a maximum 8K resolution video at 24 frames per second, which is actually, I think, the first action camera to be able to shoot at such a high resolution. Now, the 8K is limited to a single frame rate, but does look more sharp and allows for some cropping with minimal loss of quality. Another advantage is that the Ace Pro has a larger sensor than the Hero 12 or 11. The Ace Pro sensor is 1-1.3 inches, whereas the Hero 12 is 1-1.9 inches. So the Ace Pro lens is also designed and developed by Leica, which is a very well-known German camera company which develops lenses for, I think, decades now. So it is a higher quality lens than what we're used to seeing in most action cameras. First, looking at the Ace Pro versus the Hero 11 in daylight conditions, there are some significant differences in both color and dynamic range. The Ace Pro automatically shoots HDR video when shooting at 4K and 30 frames per second or lower. So all of the clips you're seeing here is using the HDR mode in the Ace Pro. The Hero 11 has no HDR video mode, but the Hero 11 does shoot at a higher resolution of 5.3K. From what I'm seeing here, the HDR video in the Ace Pro brings out more of the color in the sky, reduces the overexposed areas, and reveals more details. For example, you can see here in the clouds, you can see more of the actual blue sky. It's not overblown, overexposed, whereas the Hero 11, it looks more like white blobs rather than individual clouds. You can also see the very different color technology that both cameras use. Now, this is down to image processing, which chip they use, which processor. And I do find the Hero 11's colors to be a little bit more vibrant and just, I think, more accurate to what was really there. It is also definitely worth noting that both the Hero 11 and 12 shoot 10-bit video. 10-bit video allows the camera to capture and develop literally millions of more colors. I believe 10-bit video is 16 million colors. And so it's a massive difference in the number of colors that both cameras can produce, and this is, I think, visible in these comparisons. So I think in daylight, the Ace Pro deals with the difference between light and dark, deals with details in the dark areas, and doesn't produce such overexposed in brighter areas, but I think the color technology and the colors with the GoPro 11 are better in my opinion. But let's now take a look at some videos shot in low light scenarios, because it's all about to change up in the Insta360's favor. Here is some video shot at nighttime, as you can see, but there are obviously lots of artificial lights around now. The Ace Pro has a special video mode called Purevideo, which is designed to work in these conditions for low light, nighttime, evening, dusk, indoors. It's designed to reduce noise. It's designed to increase quality, clarity in these more difficult scenarios, and I think it does an amazing job. It is definitely the better camera to shoot in nighttime at low light scenarios. The Purevideo mode definitely making a difference here. When there's lots of artificial light around, like in a city center, then the difference isn't as pronounced. But when we get to some really low light areas where there's not much artificial light, the Purevideo mode does an excellent job of keeping the image not only visible, usable, but also reducing noise. I find in the Hero 11 and 12 that it does pick up quite a bit of noise in dark areas. But let's move on to some video comparisons shot with the Hero 12 and the Ace Pro, because there is a little difference here. The Hero 12 can shoot HDR video just like the Ace Pro. In these comparisons, I obviously use the HDR mode in both cameras, dealing with, again, overexposure and dynamic range and just bringing out more details in darker areas. But to be honest, I'm not noticing a massive difference. But I do find that the GoPros, whether it be the 11 or 12, can capture bolder and more realistic colors than the Ace Pro. Again, this may be due to the color technology or the 10-bit video, which I did activate for all of the videos. I find that the Ace Pro captures slightly warmer looking video with a slight yellowish hue, whereas the GoPro has a more clearer blue hue, and I just prefer that personally. You may disagree. And definitely the 5.3K resolution, higher than the 4K, it does produce slightly crisper, sharper videos as well. The Ace Pro obviously has this 8K video mode as well, but it's limited to a single resolution and has no HDR mode, so we can also do comparisons there. And obviously the 8K video is definitely sharper. You can zoom in, you can crop and not lose much quality, but I don't think the colors are doing much. I think the lack of HDR makes the image look a bit dull compared to the GoPro, so yeah, I'm not sure whether I would actually prefer to use the 4K video mode with this HDR video activated. So once again, at nighttime, the Hero 12 doesn't really perform very well, and the Ace Pro with the Purevideo mode does perform very well. For a, have to consider that this is an action camera, so it's not going to be as good as a DSLR or anything like that. But for an action camera, this is probably the best low light video I've ever seen shot with such a small camera. So as I keep mentioning, these are action cameras. So I mostly use these kind of cameras for vlogging, maybe some cycling, and that's pretty much the most action-orientated things I do. But it's important to check out the stabilization in these cameras and the field of view options, because a lot of people are going to be using these for some intense shots where there's going to be a lot of movement. So let's take a look at what they can do. Both cameras feature various stabilization options, including full 360 horizon lock, which keeps the video level even if you spin the camera the full 360 degree rotation. So let's take a look at the Ace Pro stabilization options first, which are a bit more complicated. Firstly, you have two video modes. The first being video, where stabilization is applied directly in the camera. But there's also a mode called free frame video, where your stabilization is applied using the Insta360 Studio desktop program. Now this requires another step to get your footage ready, but does result in the best overall stabilization. The Ace Pro offers 4 field of view options called Action, Ultra, D-Warp, and Horizon Lock. The Action option offers the widest field of view and the Horizon Lock the most zoomed in. If you select the free frame video option, you also have the option of changing the field of view in the desktop program. You have the option of different stabilization. You can change the aspect ratio. So if you want the maximum amount of options and you don't mind going through an extra step, then shoot in the free frame video mode. The GoPro Hero 11 and 12 offers, I guess, some more simplified options, and everything is done inside the camera. You basically, for stabilization, have on, off, or auto boost. Auto boost offering the best stabilization, but resulting in slightly lower quality as it requires the camera to zoom in slightly. The Hero 12 offers more field of view options than the Ace Pro and a wider max field of view, which may be better for the most intense action shots or POV videos. When activating the best stabilization option in both cameras, the Ace Pro performs better with steadier video as long as you select the free frame video mode and process it through the studio. But when using the Ace Pro's in-camera stabilization, there isn't much difference between the two, and actually maybe the GoPro Hero 12 and 11 performing slightly better. Now these tests were literally done with me holding the cameras like this and either running or walking, so that's it's actually a fairly good test of stabilization because there's a lot of high impacts to the ground, so there's a lot of vibration and shaking. Some other video features that are important to point out is the fact that the Ace Pro has a zoom feature. It's called Clarity Zoom. You double tap on the screen and it will ×2 zoom into whatever you're looking at. You also have AI highlights within the Ace Pro, which the camera automatically tries to detect the best parts of your video. You can then go into the camera and select those and delete the rest of your video. You can combine them together. So there is essentially a basic video editor inside the camera, allowing you to chop and change, crop, delete parts of your videos that you don't want, so this can save time and space on your memory card. The GoPro has a highlights feature, but it's all manual and you can't delete parts of your video, you can't crop them or split them in half or combine them, so that is more limited, but there is a highlights feature in the camera and it can be activated via voice, via touch, but it's all manual. Whoa, okay, so that has been a big comparison. There's a lot of stuff there that I've shown you. Hopefully it's given you a good idea. But before we end, I want to talk about the software that both these cameras come with, because that is almost equally as important as the hardware these days. The Ace Pro comes with a pretty comprehensive software suite, the Insta360 app and desktop software. Now, the desktop software is kind of, you need to have it if you want to get that best stabilization, so that is important. But the app also comes with some really effective editors, some AI editing, very easy to use. You can create some unique effects very easily in the Insta360 app, all done pretty automatically. There's just a load of features in there, this video would be another 20 minutes long if I had to describe them all. But the most interesting one is the AI warp feature, which I made a video about this. And it's effectively a prompt editor, a text prompt editor, using AI to edit short bursts of your video depending on what you put on this prompt. Now, this could be described as a little bit gimmicky maybe, but it is, I think, the start of the AI revolution coming to video editing. We've already seen it in Photoshop with editing images perfectly just using text. This is the start of this for video, and Insta360 has a head start here. The effects right now are stylized, they're limited, but they are interesting, and yeah, I think it's the start of something new. And at the moment, GoPro has no answer for this. There are basically no AI features in the app, in the camera. So one other advantage for the GoPro when shooting video is that I can shoot in the 8:7 aspect ratio. Now, this allows you to either crop your video in a format for, say, TikTok, Instagram, or for YouTube, or for, standard viewing. So yes, I would say the GoPro's software is a lot more limited. There are some video creators, there are some ability to add text and music and combine videos together, but a lot of it is behind a paywall. A lot of it requires a subscription. Alright guys, that has been a big comparison. Hopefully I've given you the information you need for deciding between these two cameras. I've shown you a lot of footage and a lot of stuff there. So yeah, hopefully that has helped you. But to basically summarize, guys, looking at all the shots that I've done, I do think that the GoPro Hero 11 and 12 still does shoot slightly more attractive looking video in daylight, in good conditions. But that's pretty much it. That's the only thing that GoPro still has against the Insta360. Pretty much in every other way, the Ace Pro is more innovative. It works better, definitely in low light, definitely at nighttime with the Purevideo mode. The stabilization is better if you use the studio to process it. It has the AI features, which, granted, maybe not everyone's interested in, but it's definitely innovative and definitely useful. The video doesn't look bad coming out of the Ace Pro. It certainly looks good, and I think with some software tweaking, they could adjust that color balance. I think that's really the only thing that stops it being pretty much equal to the Hero 11 and 12 in that way. I think the video looks good, it looks sharp. The HDR video works very well, but particularly at nighttime, it blows the competition away. But yeah, this is Insta360's first full action camera, and I think they really are giving GoPro a run for their money here. There's a lot to be interested in, and there's a lot that's kind of shook up what we expect from an action camera, and it will be interesting to see what happens with GoPro in their next camera. Hopefully they can add some of those features as well. But for now, that's it, guys. I hope you have found that useful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments and I will get back to you. But until next time, I'll see you around. Bye.